All right, we're gonna cut that off because that shit was too loud in my ear. All right, but who remembers that? Who remembers what that's from? Well, obviously, in the title of this episode, you know, it's Angry Birds. Angry Birds. Specifically the first one. Now, who remembers downloading this game on their phone, their iPod, like the iPod Touch, their tablet, their iPad? This game was the game to have on your mobile device, and it was addicting as shit. This was that game to have. Everyone had it. I don't know anyone who doesn't know this game. Now, Angry Birds here is one of my personal favorite mobile games. But we're going to go ahead and talk right into it. Welcome back to Memory Lane. Obviously, today, our destination is going to be Angry Birds. Now, Angry Birds was created by a Finnish game designer, Jaakko Lizalo, I think that's how you say it, owned by Rovio Entertainment. It started off as a mobile game before being ported to console. And it was on PS3, Xbox 360, and I think the Wii. And that would be the Angry Birds trilogy, not just the first one. It's the Angry Birds trilogy, and then it might have been on the Wii as well. But I know PS3 and 360 for sure. Came out in 2009, and supposedly it saved Rovio Entertainment from bankruptcy. These people were on the verge of closing their doors. This game came out, and it just gave them that financial push that they needed. And definitely they needed it, and it helped them out to the high heavens because Angry Birds got so many downloads, and it's one of the best uh, games on mobile, one of the highest grossing games on mobile, and just one of the most addicting games. Like I remember when I first got this game, I just could not put it down. I consistently played this shit over and over again. You know, you just gotta stop those pigs. You just gotta move on to the next level. You know, and it got so big to where like there's merchandise. You can get you some Angry Birds plushies, T-shirts, coffee mugs, whatever. You know, any merchandise, because now it's considered a licensed thing. You know, it even had other things. It has two movies, with the third one coming out sometime this year in 26. Apparently, it had a TV series, Angry Birds Toons, Angry Birds cartoons, and it had spin-off games. Like it had Bad Piggies. Who remembers Bad Piggies? And of course, they had Angry Birds Star Wars. It had a Star Wars version of Angry Birds, which it was cool. You know, I preferred the originals, but the Star Wars was cool. I like the way they laid out the stages. Um, but like I said, it was the highest grossing, one of the highest grossing mobile games of all time. Like I told you, this game took over the world when it came out. It was that hot. It was that hot. It was white hot. You know, everyone played it. Everyone, elders, teenagers, kids, parents, you name it, middle age, everyone played this game. You know, this was the game to play on mobile until Candy Crush came out. But it, you know, and now that's the game. But this was that game. The original games, however, were delisted from the App Store, which I'm sure a lot of you know. If you try to go back and download Angry Birds, it's not going to be there on any App Store, whether it's Android or iOS. It's not on there because due to the inability to update for modern technology, they just couldn't keep up with all the updates and just kept it up. So it's like, well, fuck it. I mean, they have console ports. Play it on the console. You know. Uh, they they got so big to the point where in China they had Angry Birds Land, a whole amusement park dedicated to the Angry Birds, a mobile game with its own amusement park out in China. Like you cannot sit up here and tell me that's huge for a mobile game, a game on your phone, a game on your iPad. You know, that started off as a brief idea turned into this multi-million dollar thing with the downloads and the in-app purchases and the spin-offs and the TV shows and the movies and the merch, and now there's an amusement park. Like, Rovio Entertainment see Yako as this god, this angel, because it took Rovio Entertainment and just made them rose from the ashes like a phoenix, all the way to the top. You know, and every time you see the logo pop up, you're gonna think Angry Birds. It's just a given now. There's just no way you cannot sit up here and say Angry Birds was not that game to play from like the 2010s, especially the early 2010s, because it was also around that time where Candy Crush came out, and that I'm not even gonna get into how big that game got over because for another episode. Now, that's let's just talk about some of the birds, at least in the first one, because as other games came out, there was other birds, other characters you can play as. But we're gonna talk about the first one because that's where a good chunk of the characters that we know and love from this series started. First off, we have Red. His name is Red. Okay, it's just the standard red bird that you always start off with. That's it. He's the face of the franchise. He's on the cover of the games. He's on the thumbnail for the app. It's just that red bird. Then you have the triplets, the three little birds, the three little blue birds, Jay, Jake, and Jim. Supposedly, the names I'm telling are supposedly their names. But the three little birds. So you have this. I should start off with this, but you have this slingshot that you put the bird in, and then you pull the slingshot back and you shoot it towards this obstruction of whatever that are being manned by pigs, these green pigs. And the objective is to destroy it. You don't have to destroy it completely. The objective is to destroy the pigs. And just the more damage you cause, the easier it is to get rid of the pigs. Because anything can hurt the pigs. The construction that they're sitting on could fall and destroy the pigs, or you could just hit them straight on. But the objective to move on to the next level is to get rid of all the pigs from the level. So as I was saying, you had Red, just your standard bird, nothing special about him. Then you had Jay, Jake, and Jim, the three blue birds, the triplets, and it starts off as one bird, and then you slingshot it towards the pigs, then you tap the screen again, he'll split into three birds. So now, instead of one little bird, you have three little birds going towards this obstruction, trying to hit something somewhere. And then you have Chuck. Chuck is my personal favorite. He was that yellow triangle-shaped bird where you put him in the slingshot and you shoot him towards the pigs, you tap the screen, and he just takes off like a jet. Just right at the pigs. I personally liked him. He was my favorite because he did substantial amount of damage because he went fast. And the thing is, you can you don't have to like tap the screen right away. Like you can wait to the last minute to tap the screen, and then that boost would cause more damage. Just a higher chance of you taking down that obstruction that the pigs are on, or to take out a pig itself, because there were pigs of different sizes, just like there's birds of different sizes, so they'll take a little bit more power to get rid of. But that Chuck, that orange triangle shaped bird, he was always my personal favorite. He to me did the most damage, other than two other ones that I'm going to name here shortly. Like this one, like Bomb. That's his name, Bomb, Bomb. It's the big black bird that was a bomb. You threw him, you tapped the screen, he blew up. It was playing. I think you tapped the screen, or I think he blew up. No, I think he blew up on impact. You put him in a slingshot and you sling him towards the pigs. He'll hit something, and I think he blows up on impact, if I remember correctly. Because it was also Matilda, I believe that's the name. It was that chicken, the white bird, big old white bird. You shoot it up in the air towards the pigs, but you got to get up high enough because if you tap the screen, it'll lay an egg, and the egg is a bomb, and it'll blow up. And then the chicken go flying somewhere off the screen. So you would have to be strategic with that one with the white bird because there are levels in this game where the obstructions are kind of split up into split levels. So let's just say like, you have this main obstruction in the middle, and then from that one obstruction, there's two other obstructions coming up from it. So let's just say you take that white bird, you slingshot him over the first tower, and then in the center, once you're in the middle, tap the screen so you can lay down that egg and blow up the center, and then and then you can take that chicken as it lays the egg and just shoots off in outer space. It could go and recoil and then just bounce off to the other tower to the right. So like you'll get two hits from that one bird. You got the bomb and then the bird itself. You just got to be strategic with it. It's a strategy game. And that's what made it so addictive. We have a couple others on my name here. You have Hal. I didn't much care for Hal. Hal was that boomerang bird. It wasn't. I don't think it was a pelican or something. He had a real long. He was a green bird with a really long beak. And if you shot him in the air, you would have to. That definitely took skill and strategy for him. You shot him in the air, and if you tap the screen, he'll open his mouth and he'll start spinning and come back in the opposite direction like a boomerang. And at times, he was the best bird to use. So let's just say the way the level design is out, the obstruction that these pigs are on, let's just say it's just, they're on a platform that's standing on two pillars at towards the edge of the map. And so you take this boomerang bird, you shoot him over the obstruction that they're standing on. You tap the screen so that way he can boomerang and hopefully hit one of those pillars and take out the obstruction that way. It definitely took a lot of skill, a lot of measurement, and a lot of precision because these birds all come with uh, some type of ability. And once you put the bird in the slingshot and you pull the slingshot back, there's like a dotted line that comes from the slingshot that kind of gives you some type of idea of where the bird is going to go. So that's like your distance meter. And when it comes to distance, probably the worst one to get any distance. Now, he can do a good amount of damage if used correctly, but when it comes to using it for distance, it's a no-go. And I'm talking about Terrence. Terrence is the big red bird, the big fat red circle of a bird. You know, big, hefty, does a lot of damage, but since he's big and hefty, he's not going to go very far. So you have to be strategic with him because, sure, let's just say he is the first bird to use. You have to figure out where you're going to put him to where you can do some type of damage, but not also jack it up and mess up the chances for the other birds to clear out the rest of the pigs if there's still pigs left. He was always the hardest one to use. I liked using him, but I just hate the fact he never went very far. Okay, he was hefty. Okay, he was a big bird. He wasn't going far. It wasn't going far. And then and then this last character I'm gonna name off was kind of like a Hail Mary, and that's the mighty eagle. Obviously, it's an eagle created the most destruction, more than any bird. What you do is you call him in by throwing a sardine onto the obstruction that the pigs are on, and then mighty eagle will swoop in and do some work, and he would do the most damage. I used him several times because there was a lot of levels that I needed that Hail Mary. Like if I've been stuck on a level for like the last like 3 days, I'm like, all right, you got to come in and take care of this because this is gonna piss me off. It already has. I've been on this damn level for 3 days because just like any other mobile game that's addicting, you get a certain amount of tries or lives or continues, whatever they were in that game, before you have to stop. And if you want more, either you pay or you just wait the timeout. It's like, oh, you get more lives in 3 hours. So put the phone down for or do something else for 3 hours. Come back and you're regenerated. And I got tired of waiting, so I had to call in that Hail Mary. I had to call in that Eagle. Mighty Eagle, go and do work. Finally, move on to the next level, and then I get stuck again. It's just one of those games. But it's just like, it's not it wasn't one of those frustrating games either. Like, yeah, sure, it was annoying, but like, it never made me want to throw my phone. I never screamed or got mad. I was just like, ugh, damn, now I gotta wait. This game did it very well to the timing, the amount of tries you get, how long you have to wait, how fun it is, how vibrant it is, the music, the sound effects, everything. Like it was an all around great game. And it was a mobile game. Like it was astounding for what this game like there was a lot of Androids and iPhones that were pushed to their limit because of this game. iPads, tablets, Galaxies, any touchscreen mobile device that had an app store could have gotten Angry Birds on it, and it pushed it to its limit because the amount of stuff that was into it. Like I said, all the work, all the colors, all the sounds, all the maps. You know, the way you use the birds, all the skills, all the everything. It wasn't just Angry Birds. That could have meant anything. You know, but there's only one way to find out by clicking on it and learning about it, or downloading it and playing it yourself. Like this game here, I had this on my phone for a while. I had this one, I had Angry Birds Part 2, I had the Star Wars, I even had Bad Piggies. I had it all. Like it was a great game to have. I watched the two Angry Birds movies, and I'll probably watch the third one when it comes out. You know? It's it's great. It's a good game. It's a great game. I wished it would update it because I like to have it back on my phone because it was definitely one of those games you can spend some time on. Like it was a brain rotten game. Just kind of melt away on your phone and forget about life for a little bit because you had a game that was fun and addicting and not terribly frustrating and just very well made. Like you can tell that it was made with love. It was made with passion. It wasn't just made as like, oh, download this game because I want your money. Like, no, 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 no. I want you to have fun with my shit. So that way, because if you're having fun, I can have fun. Because the more stuff I got to fix, the more money I got to spend. No, Rovio Entertainment and Yako, they definitely took advantage of all the attention it got. However, they didn't sell out. In my opinion, I don't think they sold out. They didn't do nothing stupid. They didn't jack up the games. They just couldn't keep up with how fast technology was moving. So they had to delist some of the originals and just move on with everything else. But Angry Birds saved Rovio from bankruptcy, and with all the merchandise and the movies and the downloads and all the different kinds of games, and even the ports, like they're all getting a slice of each pie. Rovio Entertainment has been fed for a while, and I think they still are. They're fine, especially with this third movie coming out. I think they'll have their fingerprints on it, and they just give them another slice of pie. Like it's just they're fine. They'll be well okay financially. And personally, I just kind of wish they would do more with it, video game wise. Like I think it'd be cool to, uh, I don't know, maybe see it in VR. How this game done in VR? Like maybe be a first person in VR, or maybe like, I don't know if it's on Steam. I haven't looked, but like do the trilogy and release it on Steam. Play it on a computer, you know, or just something. You know what I'm saying? Like they could have done something with this. They could have made Angry Birds board games where you take a bird and try to knock down cups, little plastic cups that are supposed to be the pigs or something. Like there was something they could have done other than just make merchandise and movies. Like they could have gone the video game route and taken this to a whole new level. They got the funds. They can do the technology to keep up with the modern technology. It could just be Angry Birds 4K remake or something or rebirth or whatever they're gonna call it. Uh, they may or may not have already done that, but I haven't looked on Steam for it either. But as much as my research as goes, it didn't say anything about anything modern other than a new movie coming out, which means probably a little bit more merchandise. But there was a time where this game was in everyone's pockets. It was in everyone's homes. If you had, let's say you had a family of four, dad, mom, brother, sister, and all four have a phone or maybe an iPad. Either way it goes, there are 4 downloads in my one house. Everyone has Angry Birds. Everyone everyone played it. Everyone played it. I know. You had to play it at least once. And if your phone, let's just say you didn't have a touchscreen phone, you had a burner phone, a BlackBerry or something that couldn't play that type of game, you played it on a friend's phone, or you played it on your mom's iPad, you played it on grandma's tablet. You played it somewhere. You played it somewhere. You just had to. It was that game. It was that game. And I can't stress it enough. It was a mobile game. Usually a lot of people don't go crazy for mobile games like this. I can name a handful, but it's, when it comes to video games that people going crazy over, normally it's a console game or a PC game or something. It wasn't a mobile game, but it's this this was this was an idea that blew up into something great and grandeur, and I kind of wished that like I said earlier, I kind of wished it would did something instead of just delisting it. Maybe bring it back. I want to play it again. At least on my phone. Sure, I can, play it on console on the PS3 or 360. Put it a part of my collection. That'd be cool. But I don't think it'll hit the same playing with a controller versus playing with a touchscreen phone. You know, like it's just not going to hit the same. Not all games do. You know, it's cool they made a port like that, and it's cool that you can have a physical copy of the game. But at the same time, it started off as a mobile game. It was designed to be a mobile game. It was meant to play mobilely. It was meant to play. You know, it'd be cool to have it on Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch has a touchscreen. Both the Switch Lite, the Switch, like the home console, the Switch 2, those are all, they have touchscreens. Perfect. Perfect. Angry Birds for the Switch. Perfect. You know? But what, I'm just a gamer. What do I know? Yeah, right? You know? That's really all I can say. My research, my love for this game, your love for this game, another destination on memory lane. But I know you are not listening to this episode and sitting here thinking like, "Oh, I hated this game." If you did, why? What was there to hate? It was a simple game. Like, did you hate it because I felt childish? Childish? Did you hate it because you couldn't kill all the piggies in one go? Did you hate it because it was strictly mobile at the time? I know that's the reason why a lot of games got a bad rep. And if you hated it, why are you listening to it? What, you think I'm gonna? This podcast is about me giving flowers to some of my favorite games. I'm not gonna sit up here and trash uh, every game I talk about. At least in the beginning, I know I'm gonna talk about games that piss me off. And just because they pissed me off and I hated it doesn't mean you did. I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing this for you all. Give you something to listen to. Listen to someone else give praise to some of your favorite games. Listen to someone else complain about the struggles in the same game that you like. Just because you liked the game doesn't mean it was flawless. Angry Birds wasn't flawless. I told you I hated that damn boomerang bird. What was his name? Hal? Yeah. Hal? Fuck off. Simple. But I still like the game. I still love the game, and I can't be the only one that didn't like Hal. Like, I'd rather just get bombed and just blow up everything. Just boom, boom, boom. There. It's problem solved. The hell with Hal. Because there was a couple levels. I'm remembering now that there's a couple levels that was strictly Hal. I had 3 or 4 of him, and that's all I had to beat the level. When I saw that, I already knew I was going to get mad, and I was not going to beat that level. Because all I had was Hal. Because if you don't angle it right, and you don't time it right when you tap the screen to him to activate that boomerang power, He's either A, gonna spin around and miss everything, just come right back at you, or B, he's gonna swing too low and just hit the ground. The amount of times I had to replay those levels irritates the shit out of me. Like, I haven't played this game since high school, because I'm pretty sure that was the last time you could have gotten it on your phone. But here I am, well over a decade later, still talking about the same things that irritated me as if I was playing it right now. Chuck, that's my dude. That's my favorite one. The little jet guy. The little triangle orange, or not orange, yellow. The little triangle shaped yellow bird that took off like a jet when you tapped that screen and did a lot of damage. That's, if I could just have nothing but him and maybe bomb, well, I'm good. I'm set. I'm set for the whole game. I'm set for the whole game. That's all I need. That's all I need to beat the game. No, instead you give me a Hal with his big boomeranging ass with the beak that's bigger than his whole body. And if you don't send him in the air high enough, he'll smack his beak into the ground, or he'll smack his beak into anything that's in the way. And there goes that. You just wasted a bird. You wasted a shot, and you increase your chances of restarting, losing a life, getting a game over, burning your time, put the phone down and wait again, just to do it all over again. Thanks to Mighty Eagle. But you couldn't always use Mighty Eagle. Mighty Eagle was a one and done. That's where I have to that's where I have to let it sit. I'm gonna let it sit there. Actually, I'm gonna say something good so we can leave on a good note. And that good note is, at the time, you could not have named a better game than this. There was a lot of games. There was a lot of games out there, you know, but this game was on everybody's phone until Candy Crush came out, and that was on everyone's phone. It dethroned Angry Birds, but Angry Birds have already made their mark before that game came out. And sure, there was other games, Cut the Rope, Fruit Ninja, Temple Run. Sure, but not everyone played those. But everyone played Angry Birds. My grandma did. Parents, myself, friends, people younger than me, everyone. And that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it here at this good mark to let you know, Angry Birds, personally me, I miss it. I want to play it again. I got a Switch. Let me play it on my Switch. I will lose so many hours. You have no idea. Memory Lane. Angry Birds. Check out my YouTube channel for my Let's Plays. Kevin Gill Gaming has the same profile picture as here on Spotify. And be sure to follow my socials. You can get all that from my YouTube. Or you've already followed me on my socials, and that's how you found me here on Spotify. Well, anyway, Memory Lane, Angry Birds. I'm out.